Today is Monday. In the US of A, it's Labor Day. But they don't want you to stop working, slaves. Just keep on working. Get ready for the emergency broadcast system. The Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Time to call your friends. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History series. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, NMFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as medical hate nor legal advice. Good morning, Lydia. Great to have you. And Sandra, doing okay. Just ramping up. Got a special presentation for all of you today. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the weekend, and technically, but today was a holiday, so I started early today, but technically 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday through Friday, okay? And then a special tonight with Melody Gillespie and on our Guy with Five, Alan David, okay? So they should be on tonight. Just check your announcements, will you? And stand by for the broadcast. Good morning, Martha, from up there in the Tundra Country, Ontario. And all of our new listeners, welcome. Stand by. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and heart of Amish country in the land of, and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series, the words that kill, the great lies of history, the burning swords of fire. It's all right here, the review of the movies and book reviews and the history of the church and the original gospel, read by Yah Love and all of you, of course, and a special presentation today, ladies and gentlemen, on the book of Genesis, the first 3 chapters, give or take, and we're going to just plow through it and see if we can't decode the code and see and read it for ourselves. Good morning, Jenny. Ninja. Because we are the deprogramming program. You know, it's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. You figured that out finally, right? Of course. You took that red pill when you started looking at the sky and you said, something's rotten on planet Earth, and what are they doing trying to kill our planet? What's going on? These ancient psychopaths that drink blood and yeah, it's a battle for the mind. It's a battle for our soul. It is a great battle. It is the battle of light, which is truth, versus the darkness, which is ignorance. And these are the great antagonists against the other. We got to get through this, ladies and gentlemen. We do. But once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things as they really are, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. We just need to come to terms with things as they really are. As I used to say, you know, I don't care how bad it is. Just give me the truth and I'll learn how to deal with it, okay? But, you know, don't soft pedal it. Don't put it under cover. You know, don't be afraid to tell me. I want to hear it straight. Give me the skinny, right? And that's what we have to do. We have to hear how bad it really is so that we can realize this is not our world. This is not our home. It was somebody else's playground. And we were just supposed to wake up and then transcend, take off like a bird, like you. We are all serpent owls, okay? So pretty bad deal. We're a serpent, but the good deal is we've got a mind hiding within us. It's the perfect book, and that it will allow us to transcend, ladies and gentlemen. And you do want to transcend, of course, don't you? And don't forget, you don't know what you don't know until you listen in. And welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, the best way to identify the truth is to identify the great lies of history. And that's what we do every day on the Forbidden History series, because somebody's got to do it. And you know, it's amazing that the bigger the lie, the more the people are inclined to believe it. You know, just, yeah, give me the big lie. I don't want to, you know, just get into small lies. Give me that big one, and I'll strap it to my back, and I'll tell the rest of the world that big lie. You know, and it's amazing that people are not deep thinkers, and they're not a deep study. They haven't read, you know, hardly anything in comparison to how much is out there to read, right? You know, especially the ancient literature. That's all I care about is the ancient. I don't care much what people have to say today, but there is a lot of good information coming out. There's no question, but there's so much more that is just worthless, you know. And how do you sift through it? It's like a lagoon, you know, and you got to go through that sticky stuff and everything, and it gets you caught. And and yet the only way to really see clearly is to get in connection with the one who made all things, because the one who made all things reveals all things. He's been there at every moment throughout all time in history, and there's no better place to get the revelation and the vision. You know, he leads you down the trail of light, and he keeps pointing things out. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Oh yes, thank you, Father, I get it. And that's what he wants to do. You know, the whole idea of the light shining is telling us we have a way to get back. Okay. And by the way, if anybody has a Skywatch report or and by the way, I'm your host, Desert Owl, bird who sees in the night, for any new listeners listening in. But we love to have a Skywatch report. If there's anything that you saw that you need to direct people to, your catch, whatever you caught up there in the sky, then certainly you can call in. Or if you have a great lie of history you wanted to share real quick, or a word that you're trying to figure out, or a word you think they killed you with, because you're going to start seeing the words too. Okay, you're going to see something I didn't see. It's just the way it happens. You know, we can't see it all. It's just and then you're now my eyes. Okay, I'm your eyes. You're my eyes. That's what when the teacher's in the room, she says, my pupils. What is a pupil? A pupil, she's saying, my eyes. You are my eyes. You are looking for me, right? So discernment can be difficult without Yeshua. Absolutely. It's in fact, it's near impossible to have any true discernment, because then we're in the darkness. And how do you see when you're in the darkness? You got to go to the light. But yeah, and so in the beginning is the Word, and the Word is the Shavor, and the Shavor is Yahweh. It is the royal center. What is the royal center? It is the sun shining up there, the solar system. Of course, they came out with the big lie saying, the Earth is flat as a pancake, and that there's some kind of plastic bubble up there, and therefore, if that's the case, then we've never been hit by a meteor, right? That's a pretty good slogan, meteorite, right? Right. Okay, we've never been hit. There's no evidence of it either, but we know that when you look at things rationally, then you can see that there are laws of nature that literally dictate the round Earth. But also, there's even people now saying that the scriptures validate flat Earth. Okay, and I have friends that think they're just flat, and that's okay. But I'm speaking from excuse me, my presentation here, and there are laws of nature, but also even in the scriptures, even Fenton got it right in the 1800s. He correctly translated the word spheres on several occasions, and I pointed that out on a broadcast way back. But more than that, the laws of physics, magnetism, North Pole, South Pole, the magnetosphere, the everything spins. Okay, everything spins, and so you just got to see it for yourself. I'm not going to try to convince anybody of it. And then, you know, and it takes a million lies to cover the first lie, but that lie, you know, what went around once before when they didn't want people going out there into the deep ocean when everybody started getting ships because they didn't want people to know about their secret enclave over there in the West. Excuse me. I got to cough a minute. Be right back. So I hope I can get through this today. Let me get some of that C60 in my throat here. I forgot to take a sage tablet before I got started here. And I was going to do the afternoon program today, but then when I realized it was Labor Day, I didn't realize today was Labor Day, and then finally did last night. And so that being the case, I figured it'd be better to do an early broadcast than a excuse me, an early broadcast than a later one because people are taking off today. They want to relax, and so I figured it would be a good way to start the day. Okay, and so anyway, I've got some a read. I've been wanting to do this, you know, and I've been looking at Bereshith, but that's the Hebrew, Yiddish Hebrew, but it's really, you know, what we call Genesis. Genesis just really implies genealogy, and so so we're gonna just go through those first few chapters of Genesis, and we're gonna see if how they play tricks in our diction so that we could not see correctly. And it is controlled by a priesthood that hates our guts. These are the psychopaths that are poisoning our world. You're welcome, Martha. Thank you. And so so we're gonna plow through that. But first, I just want to do a couple little small segments before we get there and try to warm up my throat at the same time. And I see Yah Love is not here right now, but she should be coming in at one point, and I sure hope she is to give me a break. Excuse me. So we're in the Tolma. We're in the what's called the Gospel of Thomas. It's correctly the Star Message of Tolma. Gee, hang on a minute. This is great. All right, I think I got it out that time. So I used to deal with bronchitis and all that when I was young, you know, and regeneration. I got, the doctors were killing me with overdosing antibiotics, and in my mid-20s, I realized these people were going to kill me if I didn't get control of my health. But I basically, through the wisdom of Yeshua, you know, cured myself of bronchitis and asthma and all that, and haven't taken medication or anything. I just used herbal formulas and also regeneration and exercise, and overcame a big hurdle. And I see we've got Ninja on the line here. Hey Ninja, how are you? What's that? Speak up. I gotta turn my volume up. Wait a minute. I didn't turn my volume up. Start over. How are you? What'd you say?
Rest your voice. You're struggling. You've got to get through it. So just in rambling mode at the moment. So I'm going to give you a break. Let you rest your voice.
Well, okay. Well, just tell us about the burned up vegetation out there. I'll be all right, but I appreciate that. What's going on? What's going on down there with? I saw some of your YouTubes, and you've got some vegetation. You were at the library, and all those green trees were no longer green, right?
Yes. My garden's dying. Is it? Yeah. Things are coming to life, and as they're coming to life, because for those who don't know, it's spring here. Yeah, as they're coming to life, they're dying, like the tips of everything, like how I showed that palm tree with the burnt tips on the end of the leaves.
Yeah.
All the bulbs were doing that. They've got burnt tips. and everything's going yellow as it's growing. Like the new stuff is going yellow, and my grass won't grow, and it's pretty bad actually. Yeah, so I'm working hard. Like I was out in the garden all afternoon looking after it. I'm working hard, and I want to fix it, but I don't know if I can. So
yeah.
I'm going to make a video with comparison, because I have so many pictures from spring last year, and I'm going, when things start coming out this year, when the flowers start coming out, I'm going to do a comparison video so we can see the difference, because I'm already noticing a massive difference just within this year. Yeah.
Right. And you need to watch that sun. So I hope when you go doing stuff outside, you try to do it either early when the sun is just rising or when it's going down. Behind noon, is the worst time to be outside now. You know that, right?
I know that. We had clouds today. I know it doesn't help much, but we had clouds today.
Well, yeah, but what we've learned from Mr. MBB, I think in particular with those readings, that when the cloud cover is there, it just contains the radiation, and the readings are even worse on cloudy days.
Yeah. I wore a hat, and I had a scarf around my neck because the wind's cold.
Well, yeah, and you need to.
The back of my neck.
Yeah, vinyl is supposed to be the best, one of the best coverings. So vinyl, if you can get a vinyl hat with the sheath going down the back of your neck, because your brain stem is exposed, according to Higher Truth Channel, who does a great analysis on all that stuff. So just be safe, sunglasses, all of that, because we're we're in a microwave oven. Bottom line, okay?
Yeah, I'll be careful. I promise.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that I filmed something. I can't explain it. I filmed something strange about probably about 40 minutes ago. In the sky. It's dark here, and I was trying to catch the big sheet of haze that was coming over from the east, and I could not. So the video is a lot of black, but I focused on Mars and something just as big, something the same size in the sky but white, flashed for a second to the right of Mars and then disappeared. And I don't know. I took a screenshot, but I haven't had a chance to zoom in and look at it yet. But I made a quick video and put it up, and they've already cut it. They cut my video. So it doesn't really make much sense. So I've left it up because it's got the shots there. So it's slowed down and it's got a picture, but it cuts off some of what I say. And so I'm going to redo it and put it up again. But yeah, I'll leave that one there. And that's what I wanted to mention, just in case it doesn't make sense. When people watch it.
Right. Well, everybody here probably is subscribed to you, so they'll get the notice when you upload it then, right?
Sorry?
They will get the notice when you upload it. Everybody here is probably subscribed to you.
Yeah, it's already there. It's already uploaded.
Oh, it is there.
It got cut.
Okay.
It got cut during uploading.
Okay.
It ends, like, I put the original up at the start. I put me speaking and giggling at the start, and I put the original video up, and it cuts it off. I'm just saying I want to get my telescope out. I think it ends at telescope, and I continue to say I want to get my telescope out, but there goes that idea, like with all the haze. And then I say I'm going to have to watch that back. I thought I just saw something flash on the right, and all of that has been cut. All of that's been cut out. So, so all the rest is up there, though. Got the picture and everything. Mm-hmm. So, weird.
I hear you. It's going to get more sensational as time goes on. They've got all the technology, the things that we saw in the movies. It's going to become real life. All the dramatic stuff we've seen in the movies was a prediction of where we're going. And we will never know whether half of it is man-made or whether it's a natural phenomena, because it'll be both, and we just won't be able to make sense out of all of it. The motherships of those UFOs will be holograms, but coming out of them will be real anti-gravity craft with antimatter ray guns and what have you. Yeah.
I agree totally.
And there will be meteors. Whether that they probably have the ability to create their own meteors. I've heard about that. So there's an old axiom that says there's nothing capricious in nature, and the implanting of a desire indicates that its gratification is within the constitution of the creature that feels it. Therefore, you never would have had the notion put within your mind unless it was capable of being achieved. So anything that means that anything they can think of, one can think of with the mind, can be created somehow in the grand illusion.
Yeah. They can mimic anything. They can copy anything in this world. They can copy.
Yeah. And good morning to Sunfire up in UK.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell between what's real and what's not. It already is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty scary world when we are the experiment, the rats in the cage, and they do so much to damage other people. Targeted individuals, the victims of mind control, ritual sacrifice, and the raping that they do. It's just rather tragic to see what's happened. The word, just like the word molest means to touch somebody improperly. Well, the word monast means to affect somebody's mind. And so what did they call all those temples in Europe? They called them monasteries, you see? Yeah, to control the mind. So the first mind control began in the monasteries. Yeah. So, so it's
they're always making loud, is it? I love I love this stream. Thank you.
Okay, well, good to have you call in. Is that it then?
Yeah, that's it.
We got it.
How's your voice?
What?
How's your voice now?
I think that little bit helped me. I took some more C60, and I'm going to give it my best. Okay, so glad you called in, and from down under, it's great that we can communicate from distances like this. And you got free? Is it free to call over here?
Mine's prepaid so that I don't sort of get out of control.
I see. So it does cost you something, but it's still very nominal, right?
It's all covered. Like, I get a certain amount of international calls with my
wonderful. It seems like they should have made that available because
Sorry?
Well, it seems like with our technology today, what's the difference? But it's like I can't call Canada with my phone because I'm not on that plan. And how ridiculous it is, when it's like one small world now, right? It just goes up to the satellite. It could go anywhere. So anyway, that's good. I hope more friends will consider calling in. Everybody, gets an opportunity to get to know each other this way on the program. And so it's a lot of fun. All right. So be safe down there.
Yeah.
Okay. And watch those UVC and B rays. All right.
Okay. I'll be careful.
All right.
I promise.
Well, okay. We'll talk to you on the chat. All right. Peace and love.
Okay, love you guys.
Love
Bye.
you too. Bye. And good morning, Deplorable Duck. Good to have you. And so we're in the star message of Tolma, just reading one verse of Yeshua every day. And so he said, and so Yeshua breathed to his truth seekers, compare me to something and tell me what I am like. And Shimon Kefa breathed to him, you are like a perfect messenger. And Methuselah, Matthew, breathed unto him, you are like a wise philosopher. And Tolma breathed unto him, the one of the many, seed planter, my mouth is utterly incapable of breathing what you are like. And Yeshua breathed, I am not your seed planter, because you have become drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring that I have tended. This is a poor translation, but I'll Try that again. So I am not your seed planter simply because you have drunk and you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring that I have tended. Okay, yeah, in other words, many people will hear the message. I think the implication is that many people will hear the message, but they still don't get it. You see, it's following that axiom that says, one who says that they know and then does not do actually admits that they do not know, right? So if we say that we know, then we do, and that is the foundation of that truth. Anyway, continuing, and he took him and withdrew and spoke 3 breathings to him. And when Toma came back to his friends, they asked him, "What did Yeshua breathe to you?" And Toma breathed before them. If I tell you one of the breathings the eye sparked to me, you will pick up rocks and stone me, and then fire will come out from the rocks and consume you. Okay? So, interesting sayings of Yeshua. I just love finding, these treasures. We've had a library, an atomic bomb go into our Christian library, and everything's been scattered to the 4 winds. And these are the remnants. Well, as we have are remnants, and are we not fortunate? But when they get done with what they're about to do, these remnants will be gone. The likelihood, well, I mean, the world is they destroyed our world, right? So our world is going to be gone. But their whole intention was, of course, as we find in the book called Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, the Grand Poobah of International Freemasonry here in America. He wrote the 33 degrees in the book, so it's 33 chapters, each one a different degree. The first part is nothing but lies to the initiate, but then ultimately, at one point in there, then he says, well, our goddess is Lucifer, doubt it not. So then he fesses up and says that it is Lucifer. And so they said, and he said in there they were going to have 3 world wars, and also that they were going to use Islam to destroy the final remnant of Western Christianity. They destroyed the Eastern Christianity over the past 1,000 years, starting in 600 A.D. Vatican created Islam. So they destroyed our world, and so while they were thinking they were so smart, they're just going to destroy us. They've destroyed it all. Okay, and so these order takers, these psychopathic order takers, are going to get everything they deserve, because they think they're going to go underground. Those underground areas won't last long. They'll have to come up sometime. They can't reproduce underground. You need a correlation with the sun, with a woman, in order to have babies, and so they won't be able to have babies underground. They'll have to come out, and they won't be able to, because they destroyed our ozone layer. So they're all going to go down. I think they got some secrets. Maybe they do, but this is the way the world has been operating all along. Okay, so we're in the star message of truth, the gospel of truth, misnomer, the star message of truth, and the parable of the broken jars. This is like people who move from one house to. This is like people, and I guess it's picking up from the last thought because it's a new section here. But let me just see here. Okay, since these things must have happened to each of us, it is right for us to see to it, above all, that the temple be pure and still for the sake of oneness. This is like people who move from one house to another. They had jars around that were not good, and they broke, but the owner suffered no loss. Rather, the owner was glad, because instead of these defective jars being used there, there were full jars that were perfect. And so this is the judgment that has come from above and has judged every individual, to a drawn 2-edged sword, cutting on this side and on that, since the word that is in the heart of those who speak the word appeared. It is not merely a sound, but it is embodied. Okay, and so they're making a distinction between broken jars and and perfect jars, and he came to perfect that which was broken, ladies and gentlemen. And we need to see that. We need, as it said, be perfect before our great Father, because we are made in his image. A great disturbance occurred among the jars, where some were empty and others were filled. Some were ample and others were depleted. Some were purified and others were broken. All the realms were shaken and disturbed, for they had no order or stability. Ignorance was agitated, and she did not know what to do. She was troubled. She lamented. She attacked herself, because she knew nothing. For knowledge, which leads to the destruction of ignorance and error in all her expressions, approached, were manifested. Ignorance is empty. There is nothing within her. And ignorance means to ignore. And so, to ignore things. And that's what ignorance is really all about, because the evidence of the truth is all around us every day. These psychopaths even tell us what they're going to do, and we still don't get the picture. And then the next section, when we get back to it tomorrow, will be the appearance of truth and the emanations of the Great Father. The appearance of truth. So that sounds like a good section. We'll be checking that out. And a little bit of symbolism. And we, wait a minute. Am I in the wrong place here? Let me back up here. Oh, hourglass. That's right. Yeah, the hourglass is an interesting symbol. Ouch. The hourglass represents time, transitoriness, the swift passage of life, the running out of time, death. The two sections also portray hang on a second, I've got to just get my stuff back in front of me. Okay, the two sections also portray, the upper and lower sections also portray the cyclical recurrence of life and death. The heavens, well, there's the code word again, because it's sun, earth, and moon, the stars, the sun, earth, and moon, and the earth. The sand running down is the attraction of the lower nature, the world. The hourglass is an attribute of the reaper, death, Father Time, who is as a skeleton, holds it with the skith. In Christian art, the figure of temperance sometimes holds an hourglass. It is also a symbol of inversion. Okay, that's from the encyclopedia, Illustrated Encyclopedia of Symbols. And I missed the Philo yesterday, so I should probably do that before I get on to the special presentation today. All right, so let me open up Philo, because it's such a big book, 1,000 pages. And we're still in the allegorical interpretation and dealing with the number 7. I know everybody wraps their mind around 7. They all love 7. They recognize it as a symbol of perfection. Okay, and so here we are, picking it up from where we left off. Again, the irrational portion of the soul is divisible into 7 portions: the 5 senses, and the organ of speech, and the power of regeneration, or sexual. Again, the motions of the body are 7: the 6 organic motions and the rotary motion. Also, the entrails are 7: the stomach, the heart, the spleen, the liver, the lungs, and the 2 kidneys. I think the stomach would include the intestines. That's what I think literally entrails means. In like manner, the limbs of the body amount to an equal number: the head, the neck, the chest, the 2 hands, the belly, the 2 feet. Also, the most important part of the animal, the face, is divisible according to a 7-fold division. The 2 eyes, sorry, I got lost here. The two eyes, where you at? Okay, here we are. The 2 eyes, the 2 ears, and as many nostrils. And in the 7th place, the mouth. Again, the secretions are 7. Tears, mucus from the nose, saliva, the generative fluid, the 2 excremental discharges, and the sweat that proceeds from every part of the body. Moreover, in diseases, the 7th day is the most critical period. And in women, the catamenial purifications, that being, I think, of the period, extend to the 7th day, their purification rite in the old tradition. And the power of this number has extended also to a most useful of arts, namely to grammar. At all events, in grammar, the most excellent of the elements and those which have the most powers are the 7 vowels, okay? A, E, I being a corruption, Y, A, E, Y, the 2 O's, and 1 O. Oh, and the secret vowels, the R and the L, plus the H. That makes 8, and H is the number 8. Okay, when you put cross the top and the bottom again, you see 2 squares make the number 8. So, but we, these are secret vowels anyway by the priesthood. Okay, so at all events in grammar, the most excellent of the elements and those which have the most powers are the 7 vowels, and likewise in music, the lyre with 7 strings is nearly the best of all instruments, because the euharmonic principle, which is the most dignified of all the principles of melody, is especially perceived in the connection with it. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. And then do starts over again. So it's 7. Okay. And again, it happens that the tones of the voice are 7. The acute, the grave, the contracted, the aspirate, the lean, the long, and the short sound. The number 7 is also the first number which is compounded of the perfect number, that is to say, of 6 and of the unit. And of course, 6 is also the symbol of the Fibonacci sequence of creation. Okay, and in some senses, the numbers which are below 10 are either generated by or do themselves generate those numbers which are below them, which are below 10, excuse me, and the number's 10 itself. But the number 7 neither generates any of the numbers below 10, nor is it generated by any of them, on which account the Pythagoreans compared this number with the goddess, always a virgin, who was born without a mother, because it was not generated by any other and will not generate any other. And of course, the 7 is also a chevron, right? It's a chevron. It's in other words, it's the V in disguise. According to the 7th day, the great Olaf Haim, through Yovelhe, caused to rest from all his works which he had made. Now, the meaning of this sentence is something of this kind. The great Olaf Haim ceases from forming the races of mortal creatures when he begins to divide the divine races, which are akin to the nature of the number 7, and the reference of which is here contained to their moral character, the character of ethics, not morals. They don't want more and all. Is of the following nature: when that reason, which is wholly pure, in accordance with the number 7, has entered into the soul, the number 6 is then arrested, and all the mortal things which this number appears to make. Okay, so it's, I guess, then talking about transcendence and that which goes up. Okay, leaving the earth behind. So I'll post it right there for the next read. And it's just interesting stuff to see how the great design was made, right? And good morning, Ash. Great to have you. So let me see here. Before I get on to the main part, do I have anything else I wanted to cover? I think it'd be good to get right to the program now. Of course, I'm not sure how long my throat will hold out. So hang on. I'm going to go just put some music on, and I got my book set up on a reader. I've got 4 different books I got to look at when I do this because I'll be comparing. But I'm going to work out of the King James. So if you want to get set up, get your Shultres, your scriptures, and open up to Genesis 1:1, and I'll be right with you. Okay? Glad you tuned in right here to the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Somebody's got to do it. Okay, stand by. I'm going to turn off that air conditioner. And I may have to do the morning, just an update. I may have to do the mornings temporarily until I get my other air conditioner because the one in the front crashed, and that was the main one. And so I'm working off this little one in my office, and it is not sufficient. But in the afternoons, I know if it's already so hot for me in the mornings here, I just know that I'm not going to be able to do the afternoon. So maybe just a couple more days I'm going to do the morning like this, okay? But I don't want to leave out Ya Love when she does such a great job reading, and so we'll have to get there and hopefully tomorrow I will have the new air conditioner, but I can't guarantee that, so we'll find out. All right, so I hadn't done any major prep for this. I'm ad-libbing as I go here, but I'm not really ad-libbing because I've been preparing all my life to do this, okay? I got notes in all my margins and all my books. I've got in front of me the Septuagint, the first transliteration ever come out of the Hebrew of the Old Covenant, and so that was done in Alexandria about circa 300 BC, and then I've got my Lamsa, I've got my Lamsa from the Aramaic, and then I've got Fenton, Farrar Fenton from 100 years ago, who was probably the all-time Hebrew and Greek scholar of anyone. Okay, he probably was. When you realize what he's done, I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me they got a copy and what they think of it. Okay, because I'm sure somebody out there must have got a copy, and if you need a copy, go to artisanpublishers.com. Okay, artisanpublishers.com. Now I'm sitting back. I'm trying to. I've got this. I don't know what you call it, sort of like an easel, and I can stand up my books in front of me. So give me an audio check, okay? Because I got my microphone up higher so the easel doesn't block it. So tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what is my audio right now? Audio check, okay? And I'm gonna read out of the King James. I'll be reading out of the King James, then I'll refer to the other versions that I have here as needed, okay, for comparison, and you'll get an idea of the distinct differences. But I'm gonna use King James. Hey, thank you, Sandra. Appreciate that. Martha, thank you. All right. So I'm glad because I didn't know if my voice was going to be muffled with this thing standing up in front of me here. So my voice just goes right over the top there. Ash, thank you. Okay. So real quick, I want to read an interesting. Like I you hear me say, we got to hear things in ways we've not heard them before. We have to hear the thing that has not been heard because thank you, Ninja. And and I just recently have learned some stuff, but I've been taking notes and doing drafts of Genesis all my life because I knew there was something wrong. In the beginning, it's just something's wrong, you don't know what it is. It's milk toast. They gave us milk toast instead of the real bread. You know what I mean? The real bread. They gave us bleached, smashed flour and dead flour and milk toast. So we've got to really look at this closely. The first clue is to know that you're being lied to. Once you get the picture that you're being lied to, then everything else fits in. Okay, that's the opener. That's what opens everything up. So I just wanted to read this because other traditions, tell the story of our creation, and this was taken from Mel Gibson's first sequel to The Passion of Christ. Okay, and it's the Mayan tradition of the fall. So the jaguar said, "You'll be strong like me." Then the man said, "I long to know the secrets of the earth." The serpent replied, "I will show them to you." Now that's the Naga. That would be Adam. You see, he has the ability to show because he knows he was there with Yeshua the whole time. That's right. The realization is that everything's being lied. We're being lied to wholesale. And so it went with all of the animals. Okay, I'll back up on that. The serpent replied, I will show them to you the secrets of the earth. There you go. I long to know the secrets of the earth. And the serpent replied, how could the serpent, this must be a pretty powerful serpent. And the only one that powerful was Adam, who was up there in the throne of the Atom, aka the Eden, the sun. Well, he made all things. It said Hadam named all things. We're going to see that when we get into the read. Okay, and so this is the way it was with all the animals. What? That they were illustrations. They were animating animals and primates. When you switch out the prefix and the suffix of each animal and primate, you get animate. The primates, the animals, they animate. They're telling a story. And he knew the story. He knew the story. He knew how everything in the universe operated. He was an insider. And when the man had all the gifts that they could give, he left. And then the owl said to the other animals, Now the man knows much. The owl, therefore, would be the great Elohim, Yeshua. That's the owl. Okay? Then the owl breathed to the other animals. Now the blood of the earth knows as much and is able to do many things. And suddenly, I am concerned. And the deer breathed. The man has all that he needs. Now his sadness will stop. But the owl replied, no, I see a hole in the man, deep as a great hunger that he can never fulfill. He can never find satisfaction on this earth, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and that's it sounds so similar. It's virtually identical, to our other stories, showing that this traditional story from the first parent of the Aryan race is is universal, and what goes around comes around. Okay, so interesting stuff there. And I've got notes in front of me, and I hope I can do this well enough. So in the King James, I'm going to read now the first verse, 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And so we got all these code words in here. Okay, and the is not the way it's given to us in the Yiddish Hebrew, because it starts with Bereshith, and Bereshith is the word beginning. Okay, but it's as a Jesuit recently came forward and pointed out, I was able to watch one particular documentary, and this other researcher said, yeah, the Jesuit told him, he says, you know what? Come here, let me tell you a secret. Okay, the first letter is missing, and it's the A. And so it's not Bereshith, but it's Ava, because it's not the B, it's the V. That's another code. We got to reconstruct and get back to original. So AVVA, Ava Rashith, Ava Rashith. That not Bereshith, but Ava Rashith. And so Ava Rashith, literally, you can see AVVA. If you want to write this down, you can follow. Okay, AVVA. Well, there's the sound wave. The AVVA is a sound wave. If you look at it, it's a wave. You put the two V's together, what do you get? The A is in the middle. The V's naturally make an A in the middle. And so it's literally a picture of sound waves. But so Ava is really mother, father. The father is the AV, and then the reverse of the AV is the VA. That's the reverse image. And that's the VA, and that's the mother. That's the woman. You see? Because remember, well, that's the one I'm using, Sandra, is the King James, showing you I can do the transliteration right out of the King James, but I have in front of me the Septuagint. I've got the Farrar Fenton, and I've got the George Lamsa from the Aramaic. I've got the most important translations in front of me. Okay, but I want you to see it in your scriptures. Most people have something akin to a King James, perhaps, or but whatever you have is fine. It doesn't matter. Just whatever book you have, just follow along. Okay, so because when Adam came out of the Eden and was placed in the garden, and that was the symbolic of him falling asleep. And then when he wakes up, what's he see? The first thing he sees is he sees his other half, Keva, the woman, and she's looking good, and he says, you are the mother of all living. Whoa, okay. So you mean you represent the creation? And then the question would be, well, where is she in the beginning? And here she is. I'm showing her to you right now. It's the Ava. You see how they corrupted Eve? It's not EVE, it's AVA, but there's literally two V's in the middle, and it's actually Avva, 4 letters in the original. You can have one V in there, it's okay, but literally it's the duality, you see? And so if you remember that when Moses was up on the mountain, he said to Yeshua, can you show me your face? And he said, no, I can't show you my front side, but I can show you my back side. And what that means is is reverse image. It's the reverse, okay? He couldn't show him his true nature because he would be destroyed, you know. Moshe would be burned up in the great light. And so instead he was shown the reverse image, okay? And the reverse image is the female. The female. That's why the man is bigger, right? Because he represents the father, whereas the woman represents the mother. Okay? So the woman is a symbol, the man is a symbol, but we're all in this drama together. We need each other, you see? But we have to come, but what brings peace is the knowledge of the truth. That is what brings peace. And I'm thinking of I'm going to elevate that microphone one more notch here. Hang on, because I'm feel like I'm wanting to shout over this platform here, and I don't want to do that. Okay, that should be better. Breathe deep, Desert. Okay, I think I can do this now. All right, so Avav Rashith. So therefore, Avav Rashith literally means the father, mother, Veya. There's the word way. Veya is way. The father, and let me try this again. The father, Veya, the mother, soul, period. The father, Veya, the soul, period. The mother, soul, period. That's what it is. The mother, soul, period. Bara created the great Elohim, which is Olavhaim, the great Elohim. So the father via Veya, the mother, soul, period, and the period is the dot, but that represents the sun. And Fenton, okay, Fenton says right here in his version, by periods. You see, he knew that was an important element because it represents a star. By periods, and also an age. By periods, the great Elohim created that which produced the solar systems. Literally says that, okay? By periods, the great Elohim created that which produced the solar systems. Then that which produced the earth. Then, that's after the fact. Then that which produced the earth. And we'll show that. We're going to prove out first thing that the first thing that was made is the sun. And we don't get that picture from our King James. Okay? So, and there's a footnote here with that Fenton where he said by periods. What did he say? Also by headships. He's got headships. But the head then would be the light, of course, right? The sun is dominant. It is curious that all translators from the Septuagint have rendered the word Bereshith into singular, although it is plural in the Hebrew. Okay, there you go. So meaning that's why he says not by a period, but by periods. But it's plural. And therefore, there's a confirmation of what I was just saying about male and female. Okay, that Ava is, the father, mother, soul, period. The father, mother, soul, period. But I put Veya in between it because he's doing the father, the spirit is creating by the mother. Hello, Hans. Good to have you to the program. And so there's always something that's not being said, and it's implied, and that which is implied has to be breathed. Okay, there's always more to what is being breathed. And just to finish here, he says, so I rendered it accurately. So he rendered it accurately. The implication would be in our corrupt version, like the King James, in the beginning. What he's implying was in the beginnings, plural. But the problem is the word is wrong, you see? And so it's about how the start, it's like saying starting with, okay, starting with. So all of these translations have a problem to a certain degree because they're all attempting to see it clearly, okay? And so I benefit from all of these experts, but then I also benefit from the anointing of Yeshua that has allowed me to see this. As you know, he gave me the Indo-Germanic. He gave me the original thought through a long process when everybody's stuck in the Hebrew and the Greek. Hebrew is really Yiddish. Okay. So and now I just got a wonderful tip this week through this other documentary that the A was taken out, and it makes sense that the very first letter of the alphabet would be the very first letter of our scriptures. Absolutely. Because it's the I, symbol of the I, the A, not the I, it's the A. You look with your A. Okay. And it's talking about a beginning. Well, what came first? The A, the I, the sun, the big I. Okay. It's also clearly evident, but we've been prejudiced with preconceived notions that deflect our ability to see things clearly. So let's try this again. We're still on verse 1:1, and so it would read something like this. Okay, it would read something like this: the Father, the Mother, Soul, period, from the beginning, created the great Elohim of the creation with the stars, and thereby created the planets, the earth, and the moon. Interesting that the moon is not mentioned there, because the moon is the mother of the occult. It was also the mother of A.48. The moon, they were endeared to because the great son of fire was the great God, and they couldn't look at the great God. You see, because they were serving the female aspect, and that was in the darkness, and that was the moon, symbolically. Okay, so I'll read it one more time. The Father, Vea, the Mother, Soul, period. And the period represents an age as well, but it primarily represents the sun. From the beginning created the great Elohim. That's the sun again. The great Elohim is the sun. It is also Yeshua. Okay, it represents, that's the logo. That's the symbol. Good morning, 10,000 Lakes. Great to have you here. And okay, so created the great Elohim. So great Elohim is the sun, and great Elohim is also the spirit. That is Yeshua. Okay, Yeshua, remember, he's in all things. Yeshua is in the atom. It says he knows how many hairs are on your head. He is everywhere at all times, knows all things. Instant. Okay, it's so profound to wrap our minds around the infinite nature of the great Elohim who represents Yahweh. Okay, I'll try it one more time. Then let me get through this. Then we'll be on verse 2. We got a lot of field to plow here, I got to tell you. The great Father, Vea, the Mother, Soul, period, and she's a virgin, okay, but it came through the cosmic mixing of the whore. You know, the whore is the fire of the cosmos. The what would we call it? The the mixing, the very primordial origin of creation that evolved in this process. Because we're talking about 6 great periods, not 6 24-hour periods, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, I'm going to show it to you. So the great Father, Vea, the Mother, Soul, period, from the beginning created the great Elohim of the creation, okay, because everything came out of the light, and that's the great Elohim, that's the sun. From with the stars, and thereby created the planets, the earth, and the moon. And they've taken stuff out of our scriptures. Okay, we just proved it with the A at the beginning, but it's and I've been proving it, all these weeks here with you, showing you the stuff they removed, and we found some of the writings out of Tibet where it's still in there, So that's the name of their game. And when you never saw something, how can you see it, right? But it's coming to light right here. Okay, so we got that. So now let's go to verse 2. Okay, and for anybody just jumping in, we are doing a review of the first couple chapters of A.48, not Bereshith, but A.48, and it is. And by the way, the Sheth, the Rasheth, it means the light that is hiding also. Okay, because Sheth is the sheath. The sheath is where you put the flaming sword. The knife or the sword goes into the sheath. And so that word itself is a primitive, It goes, and that's Indo-Germanic, and we still use the word today. Okay, it means the light that is also hiding, and that's what they've done. You know, with the light, they hid it from us. So, so now in verse 2, and the earth was without form, and I'm going to read it literally first, and then I'll show you the tricks that they played. Okay, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Okay, so it's almost there, but if it's not there, then you lose. Almost. How do they? The smallest words are the most powerful because they direct everything. And if the small word is not proper and correct, then it throws everything off. So here's how it really reads. Okay, verse 2, and the earth was not yet formed. Okay, not without form, but the earth was not yet formed. Why? Because it came out of the light of the sun. It's a child of the sun, and I'll get to that. And the earth was not yet formed within the void, not and void, but within the void. You see how it's almost there? The primary descriptive terms are correct, but the smaller words are directing it. Okay? And so, and the earth was not yet formed within the void. And darkness, we know it's true, darkness was upon the face of the deep. What is the deep? It's the cosmos. It's the cosmic sea. It's the void. And the darkness, so therefore, so there was nothing there but darkness. The earth was not yet formed in the void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. There was nothing there. And then the Spirit, now we already know that it said that the great Elohim was made, but yet it was not lit upon fire. It was a gaseous orb. That was in verse 1. That was the one thing I didn't say, that it is the gaseous orb. And so what do we have now at the end of verse 2? And the great breath of the wind of fire of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, God. It says here God, but I'm now using original thought. And the great breath of the wind and fire, the Spirit of Yahweh, moved, and actually the word would be flew. Flew. Why? Because you see in the word, again, the very first word, A.48, there's your word AV, the very first two letters of A.48, the first word of our scriptures in Genesis is Av, and there's the word aviation, that which flies, you see? And so they're flying through the cosmos, and in the cosmic sea, these gaseous orbs, in particular our sun, and it has not yet been lit upon fire. And now you're going to see how it was ignited, because and the great breath of the wind and fire of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, that's God here, flew upon the face of the cosmic sea, and God breathed, because said is breathed, and God is Yahweh. Now we're in verse 3. And Yahweh breathed. And when he breathed, he was saying, let there be light. And the breath of his great Spirit breathed into the gaseous orb and was lit upon fire and ignited in the darkness. And that's the very first. And there was light. So that's the third. Okay? Right there, third verse. And so you see, nobody can get these pictures, ladies and gentlemen, because they are so distorted. We've been lied to. There's nobody telling us the truth about this. And you can see it comes in a very logical progression. You can get the picture. There's nothing magic about it. It's about the process of creation within the void. It starts with the gaseous orb. That's the seed of the Father. You know, a seed. And it's going to be lit upon fire. We have to be lit upon fire also, don't we? In our spiritual walk. Well, the gaseous orb also, which is the seed of Yahweh, had to be lit upon fire. And so, because see, whenever I read this all of my life growing up, right? And I said, oh, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. I thought it was talking about the ocean. I thought the Spirit was down here on earth flying across the Atlantic Ocean. You know, that was the waters I was talking about, but it's not the waters on the earth. The earth is not even here yet. It is the cosmic sea. The cosmic sea. It's the breath, of course, the breath of the Spirit of the Father would be moving through the cosmic sea, and then he breathes into the gaseous orb, and it is lit upon fire. Let there be light, because it was his breath. It said, and he said, but the way we do it in the original thought, it is he breathed. He breathed, and the breath, that same breath that breathed into the sun, ladies and gentlemen, is the same breath that wants to breathe in you. The same breath that ignited a star is the same breath that wants to breathe in you. Tell me that is not powerful. Tell me, okay? So now we're in, and so let's go now back to Fenton, because Fenton, he does a profound job, and I just want to compare it so you see where he was at. I'm giving you the literal sense. It is the breath of life, Jenny. Thank you. So in verse 2 in Fenton, which I recommend everyone get Fenton. I'm just a beneficiary of all of their effort. Okay, these people were geniuses. Okay, I'm not a Hebrew scholar or anything, but it is the anointing of Yeshua that has allowed me, after a 40-year process of sifting and praying and fasting and reading, that he's allowed me to see this clearly. It's for all of you. Okay, because this is so deep, you'll never be able to figure it out. He knows that the lies are so great, so he's just using me in spite of myself to be the messenger here to share it. So you get the picture. So you are founded upon that rock of truth, So in Fenton, in verse 2, it says, but the earth was unorganized. Well, you see, he didn't get it. He's still seeing, it was not here. It was not here. Okay. It was not here. So he, even though he was a great Hebrew scholar, he didn't get it. And he's still using their type of terminology. It was unorganized. No, it was not here. Okay, to say it one more time on verse 2, and the earth was not yet formed, and within that void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. Just darkness. That was it. And then the great breath of the wind and fire of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, flew upon the face of these waters. And verse 3, and the great Elohim breathed, let there be light. And there was and is light. So I don't even need to read Fenton there, because I see that he didn't, he missed that one part. I mean, he's a genius, okay? He doesn't take away from his genius. And then now we're in verse 4. Let me just take a sip of my throat tonic here. Hope everyone's doing okay out there in around the world. And we're here in America having Labor Day. And they let the slaves take one day off every day out of the year. They want us to think we're. I don't even know what that Labor Day was all about. I guess we know what Memorial Day was about. They want us to remember all those wars, right? Okay, verse 4. So I'm going to read now the King James again, the way it says it. And God saw the light, and that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So again, God is the Pope, and we need to go to, that's Western Pig Latin, and we need to go to the original. And the original, now you see there are what we call Genesis, is that, and including the other what they call 4 books of Moses, are components of several books from the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom, and the book of J is one of them. Okay, well, there's a slave that has to work today, so sorry about that, 10,000, but yeah, they got us on the treadmill, don't they? So where was I? And let me read it again. And the great Elohim saw the light, and that it was good. Now here's the thing. Okay, here's the next trick. They use the word good. Sort of like milk toast. Oh, it's pretty good. Okay. No, what? Not pretty good. That I looked up the word good a couple years ago, and I was astounded to see that the word good was Yaltzar. Yalt, the 2 primary words of all the words in our diction, right? Yalt means that which goes round. Yeshua is correctly Yashulinva, but I don't use that often on the program because nobody get it. So that's why I use Yeshua. But it's Yashulinva, meaning the knowledge of the serpent that goes round. That's literally what Yashulinva means. The knowledge of the serpent that goes round. What serpent? The serpent of everything. Everything spins. Everything goes round. The sun is the great Ouroboros. It goes around every day, right? The moon goes around. Everything is going around. That's the Yah. Yah, that's the original word for dial. Dial the telephone. Remember the old telephones? You had to dial the phone. The sundial, right? The dial. And these are words that have hidden from us, and I feel like I'm the only one talking about it, you know? Everybody got the YAH part, Yah, but the two secret vowels are the L's. And the two L's represent sun and moon. Those are the columns. Those are the twin towers. Those are the things they made the monument of the obelisk to bow down and worship. In India, they pour milk over the lingam. It's another version of the male sexual organ. And so there's your symbols of creation, the two L's. We are supposed to be L's in the symbolism of Elohim, of enlightened ones. We are upright creatures. All other creatures are walking horizontally, right? Or they are bowed down to the earth, but we walk upright. We are totally different than all other creatures. Electrons go around. Thank you, Ninja. Right. So Yaltzar, we're talking about the word good here. Yaltzar. Well, the czar. What more of a power word can you have than a czar? A czar is a power word for a star. Okay, a czar is a power star, the big star, in other words, and that's the sun again. Another name for the sun, the czar, and that's why Caesar, who is Khazar, literally means the keys, the fiery keys of the sun. The fiery keys of the sun. That's what he claimed to be. He claimed to be the incarnation of the God of the sun, you see, of the great spirit that breathed into the star and brought forth creation. And so when it said, and it was good, now, and good is a code, I think I did that yesterday. The G is the symbol of the sun, and the D is the symbol of darkness, the moon, and the two O's in the middle are representative of sun and moon. And so they put a code there instead of telling it like it is, because they didn't want you to know, ladies and gentlemen. It is Yaltzar, and it was Yaltzar. What does that mean? Yaltzar, the power. It was the power, the perfect power, and the produce of the great star that goes round. The perfect power and the produce of the great star that goes round. It's producing. What's it producing? Light. It's producing light, of course. And then what's going to come out of the light? Everything. Everything comes out of the light. So let's continue here. Let's see where we're at. Okay. And so when it said divided, and the great Elohim divided the light from the darkness, great Elohim also representing Yeshua, but also representing the sun. Remember, we're talking metaphor. In the metaphor, you are. You're not like an owl, you are an owl. You're not like the serpent, you are the serpent. Okay? And so literally the light made a distinction. Not just, divided the light from the darkness, but the implication is makes a distinction. A distinction. There's a difference between the light and the darkness. I'm not good on my atomic physics, 10,000, but I'll take your word for it. If that's true, then 6 is, again, the magic number of the Fibonacci sequence. So that would tend to seem to be correct there. But anyway, we're moving on here. Verse 5 now. So there's a clear difference between the light, which is substance, but that light substance is going to come down into the lower dense matter and represent darkness again as the light falls, because the light has to fall. Okay, Marta, you're getting the picture. Very good. I know that it's possible for somebody to get this because it's so clear and it's so logical. And what does science want you to think? Oh, it was a big bang. Yeah, there was this big explosion and then everything popped out and here we got it. The big, okay, what exploded? Tell me, what exploded when nothing was here? Nothing but the void was here. And then the Father plants his seed, the seed, into the darkness. And then his Spirit comes down and he breathes. Well, that seed is all the atoms that come together in the vibration, creating the gaseous orb. You know, the first atom is Yeshua, and then out from him came the duplicates that just like, you know, a stream, a river, just flowed out from the breast of Yahweh, from his center. And then this gaseous orb in the great mystery had to be ignited. And so it started with one atom, and that's Yeshua. Thank you, Martha, and you're welcome, certainly. It's meant for everybody to know we've been deprived it. We've been deprived it. Okay. So number 5, verse 5, and so and the point I was going to make, and I think I lost my point, was that, you know, I believe it was the Southern Kingdom had the J text. I have a copy of it from the British Museum, and in there they used the sacred name Yahweh, and the classic statement when you see Lord God is Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, just like Yeshua saying, I and the Father are one. Yahweh, but actually representing male, female, mother, father, but father is dominant. And so in like here, when we see just the word God, then it's only talking about the great Elohim, but it's a given that Yahweh is behind it all. And Yahweh and the great Elohim are one. Okay, they are one. And Elohim literally means the true and perfect love of the breath of the many. Okay, the breath of the many is the great breath that breathed creation and brought it forth, and it is the perfection and the truth and the love. Love. O means perfection, truth, oxygen. Love, the love. Haim, the breath. H is the breath, and the AYM is plural, and it's what it's aiming towards. What is it aiming towards? The duplication of creation. The breath breathed to create duplicates of everything. The multiplication. The love Haim, the true and perfect and complete love of the breath of the one of the many. Okay, that's the literal sense. That's your Indo-Germanic. It's right on the surface of our diction, and people, this is what has been hidden from us by the priesthood. They wrote it in a code, and the amazing part is the code in the English diction. I can't speak about any other, foreign tongue, only the English, because it was based on the Aramaic. All the French and German is all based on the Aramaic as well, but I'm not French. I only know they wanted the English to be used as a universal tongue, and that's why everybody everywhere learns English, from China to Germany, right? And all the Europeans, because this was the commercial diction that was originally the sovereign diction, the unadulterated, untampered with, pure diction that was breathed into Hadam, the spiritual form of communication turned into commercial racket on the driver's license. Bastardization of our original truth. Remember, the symbols are divine. Those symbols on the driver's license are divine, and they made it into a commercial code. All right, so we're on 5. And the great and Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. I'll read it regular right now. King James. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Okay, and without, let me see if I have my notes in my other verse. Because okay, so and the evening and the morning were the first day, and of course I did the Yaltzar and good in 4, so I think I completed everything in 4. And so in 5, and he called the light day, and I don't have all my notes on that. There's certain things I want to show you here. It's not like I want to do a point for point analysis on all the words, okay? But the first, well, in Fenton, see, I'll go into Fenton now because I know what he said, and he got it right. And to the light, the great Elohim called its title day, and to the darkness he gave the name night. And this was the close and the dawn of the first great age. Okay, he's the only one who got it right. Not the first day, meaning a 24-hour period, how they brainwashed us to think when you can look all around you and all the geological evidence to see the earth is very old, not to mention looking at the cosmos to know it's billions of years old. Okay, and so it was the dawn and the close of the first great age. So there's your first billion years, while the sun is just mixing and mixing, and out of it ultimately is coming the planets and the moons that make up our solar system. It is their mother star. Okay, and even the Mayan calendar concurs with this. It's amazing because Zell Lungold, Zell Lungold, who went through another scientist in Scandinavia. He was an artist, and both of them were doing their own interpretation of the Mayan calendar. And come to find out, when they compared notes, it opened everything up, and they killed him. Okay, they killed him, but because he had it, and he said that the timeline of the Mayan calendar talks about 6 billion years of creation. There's your 6. Okay, but it's not 24 hours. It wasn't magic. It was a process of evolution. The only one that didn't evolve is us. We were placed here. We are foreigners, but the earth, like the animals, right? The animals and the creatures, they belong here. They evolved on this planet. It's just that we did not evolve. We were made by the great Elohim. Okay, we were made by the Elohim. And so, and that's the difference. That's why we're naked, because all other animals were provided the covering by the Elohim. But the Elohim, when we were made, left us naked because it was implying that we were still lacking something, and that was the great breath that breathed into the star. They had to breathe in us to make us complete. And it came at the end of time when Yeshua came and said, "It is finished." That's when that operation went into effect officially for the mass of mankind that would want to flow into it. Okay? So now we're in 6, and the great Elohim breathed, "Let there be a firmament in the center of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And so that is the greatest code, that had for years, I just pondered, what's that firmament? But then ultimately, it all starts to come clear. And, and it is the sky. What's the key? The key is about dividing the waters, because we'll find out further down that it was the land that divided the oceans. But what we're talking about is the waters from the waters. And so it's the poor translation they give us that we can never figure it out, because it's talking about the cosmic sea versus the lower sea, because the lower sea looks pretty infinite too, doesn't it? Pretty big oceans. You wouldn't want to swim across it, would you? No way. It's so big and vast, right? But look above. Look, there's another sea. There's the cosmic sea. And so the firmament is the sky that is dividing the upper waters from the lower waters. In the phony Israel, they call it the Shekinah. The Shekinah, and they abbreviate it into the word sky. Okay, that's the firmament, and but it's not firm. You see, the trick is in the word. When they said firmament, they got us thinking, okay, is that land or what is that? Because they don't ever define it. But it is the Shekinah, and it was abbreviated into the sky. And so it is the sky above us that divides the cosmic sea from up above. We can't leave out the cosmic sea, because that's where it started, in the cosmic sea. And then there was a lower sea. Okay? And what's interesting is that it's like there's a verse missing here, because it never tells us about how the sun gives birth to the earth, and that it goes around in orbit. That's the one thing that's not here. But yet there is a YouTube, and actually Lynn found it one day when I mentioned it. That immediately she found it. And if you do a search for the sun gives birth to a planet on YouTube, the sun gives birth to a planet, you should find it. Okay, and you will see the sun giving birth to a planet with a 100,000-mile umbilical cord attached to it. It's still feeding it the magma from the star. And then at one point, it cuts away and literally drifts off right in the cliff. You can't miss it. It's an amazing find. And I know that it happened because Yeshua did want us to get the picture that the Earth is the mother star. And that's why the planets and the moons all go around it, because it's the mother. And they need the sustenance of the mother to stay alive, right? If the Earth wasn't connected with the sun, the Earth would die. And then the moon has an opposite energy, an opposite. And so it's all relative, okay? So in verse 6, and so the great Elohim breathed, let there be a firmament. Okay, we did that, dividing the waters. And then 7, and the great Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above. There you go, above and below. Okay, not north, not east and west, but above and below. Above and below. That's the cosmic waters. I just failed to see that confirmation right here. Okay, and so that's fantastic that it's here. And he called, and here it is. And he calls the firmament, and here's the code word, heaven. All right, that's their code word because they use it for sun, for sky, and for cosmos. And so, and the great Elohim called the firmament the Shekinah. There it is, the Shekinah, which is the sky, not heaven, but the sky. You know, sometimes we call the sky heavens, don't we? Okay, and the evening and the morning were the second great age. And so all of this stuff is evolving over a long process. You know, the plants had to get here in order to create the oxygen, right? The oxygen came first from the ocean, from the sea life in the ocean, and then ultimately life was formed on Earth, and then it kept creating the oxygen. And of all the elements that are created, the most abundant element is the oxygen. Okay, and just to prove out, one more time, this thing about they lie to us about everything. I just want to show you, for those who are new and hadn't heard my broadcast a couple months ago, that when they say what is the four elements, and people say, okay, water, air, and matter, and earth, and fire, right? Well, only two of them are correct. Water and matter, and you can see the word ater is connected with it, and that's the serpent, the water serpent and the earth serpent, water and matter, but yet air is not correct because it's oxygen. Oxygen is the most abundant element. We're talking about the elements, the four elements, and so it's oxygen is one of the four elements. But then fire is a big fat lie. Fire is not an element. It's the destruction of the elements. It is the destruction of the elements. So what is that fourth element that is not fire? Well, it's close. It's almost there, but they're not telling us the truth. It's a lie, because the fourth element is not fire. It is light. The most primary element of them all is the light. Then it's oxygen, then it's water, then it's matter. So you see, they literally hid the light from us in school when they're teaching us, okay? It's not fire, it is light. They hate the light. They hid the element of light. It's the atomic particles that come down, the light particles that continually give life to all the earth, okay? Continuing. And so, and it was so. I'd have to go look up so. That sounds like milk toast too. Okay, that's now verse 8. And so the great Elohim called the firmament, the sky, okay, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Verse 9, the second day, the second great age. Now 9, and the great Elohim breathed, let the waters under the sky be gathered together into their places, and let the dry land appear. and it was so. Okay, so they're under the firmament, under the sky. So we can clearly distinguish there was a firmament of waters above, waters below. One, microcosm, macrocosm. Great ocean above, smaller ocean on the planet. Okay, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And 10, great Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called the seas, the oceans. And the great Elohim said that it was good. And again, the word good would be Yatzar, and that is the perfect power and produce of the great star. It's acknowledging that it is the product of the great star above that goes round. That's the Yatzar, the great star. Zar is the great star, the mother star. 11, and the great Elohim breathed, let the earth then bring forth the grass, and the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, and whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth, and 12, and the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And the great Elohim saw that it was Yaltzar, the perfect power and produce of the great star that goes round. Okay? Everything came from the light. Everything came from the light. And it was perfect. It was perfect, right? This creation, is it not perfect? I mean, the unlimited bounty of resource that we have to make all of our modern civilization, to meet all these people, feed everybody. Okay. 13, and the evening and the morning are the third great age. The third great age. Everything has been slowly coming together. 14, and the great Elohim breathed, let there be lights in the firmament of the sky to divide the day from the night. Well, that's probably where then the moon is coming from. And that is the one element that I was looking for. Because I didn't pre-read this, okay? I didn't pre-read it before doing the program. And it was just, I've been doing this all my life, all my life, so I didn't have to, do a primer. Because I know that I'm just following the great breath as he's breathing. And I've been doing this for so long now. Okay, so just taking a note here. Forgive me. Okay. All right. So 14. Okay, the lights. And the great Elohim breathed, let there be lights in the firmament and the sky to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. So there's when the moon came and the stars came. The night, at least that's when it's acknowledged, okay? It makes sense that the moon would have been created after the earth because it had to get locked in orbit around the earth. You have to remember, right? We weren't there. That's the great enigma. We weren't there, and so we're having to look at the story in a very primitive and corrupted text. Okay, so continuing, so 14 again, and the great Elohim breathed, let there be lights in the firmament of the sky to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the sky of the cosmos. There's heaven again, but now it's cosmos, of the cosmos, the sky of the cosmos, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. That's in the darkness, okay? That's in the darkness. Okay, 16. And the great Elohim made two great lights. The greater light And there's now the confirmation of the moon. And the great Elohim made the greater lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser lights to rule the night. And he made the stars as well. So, oh, there it is. So the moon, it didn't say moon, did it? But that's what it was saying. Because the stars are the last thing mentioned in verse 16. And the great Elohim made two great lights. Yeah, and it's sun and moon. The two great lights are sun and moon, but it doesn't mention the moon. And this is the conclusion now. This is the wrap up of all of that creation, you see. There it is. The moon. So, we're coming from a primitive tongue. You got to realize that not only are we dealing with lying controllers, but we're also dealing with the primitive tongue and we're trying to bring it into the modern. And so this is really, I feel like in many ways I'm just reading it for the first time again. When I'm doing it live with you, and I feel like I'm seeing things in a way like I've not seen it before. And so this is fantastic. And we read it all of our lives, and we just, it's like, okay, well, what did that say? Oh, okay, well, I'll take his word for it. 17. And the great Elohim set them in the sky of the cosmos to give light upon the earth. The cosmos, not heaven. They wanted us lost in the darkness. They wanted us confused. Okay? And then to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And great Elohim saw that it was Yaltzar, the perfect power and produce of the great star that goes round, the sun. It's all the sun's produce. It's a solar system. Okay, where was I here? And the evening and the morning, 19, were the fourth dial. The fourth dial, there's day, is dial. That which goes round. That's how we reckon time. By that which goes round, the dial, the great dial. 20, and the great Elohim breathed. Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that hath life, and the fowls that may fly above the earth in the open sky. There it says firmament. In the firmament of the heavens. So I have to go back to my lexicon and Strong's to see the distinction between firmament and heaven, because this wasn't one that I was interested in. There's a few things I want to show you that are coming up, down the road here, and I didn't plan on giving a word for word analysis, so we'll just have to leave that there for now. But 21, and the great Elohim created great whales and every living creature that moves, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And the great Elohim saw that it was Yaltzar, the perfect produce of the great star that goes round. Even the animals, the birds, they all navigate by the sun, don't they? Everything is dependent upon the sun. The mother, the virgin mother, that was what Mary represented, the virgin light. That was the woman mentioned in Revelation, said she was clothed with the light, and at her feet was the moon. And then it said that she gave birth, and then the dragon wanted to eat her baby. You see, there's all the metaphors right there. And the serpent is the flesh. And they corrupted into the word Satan, but it is serpent. And we are the serpent. The flesh is. We're not really the flesh. That's an illusion. Okay, and 21, and the great Elohim created the whales, which brought forth abundantly, the whales of every living creature that moves in waters, and brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl of his kind. And the great Elohim saw that it was Yaltzar. And 22, and the great Elohim blessed, that's Barucheth, made them born of an endowment and enlightenment, breathing, be fruitful and multiply in all the waters, in the seas, and all the fowls of the earth multiplied. And so when he said he blessed them, then what it means is, literally, then it has to be that he gave them a consciousness, to live. Even the bugs, when you go try to kill them, you notice how they run? Even the bugs want to live, right? Everything scatters. Boom. Get out of here. They're coming for us. They're all conscious. They have a self-awareness. They want to live. And so that's what it means, the blessed, right there. And I have to look that word up. That'd be an interesting one. Okay, and it gave them all consciousness to multiply upon the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth great period. The fifth great period. Took 6 billion years for all this to get here. And that shows the greatness. You know what's ironic? About the contrast between, they're telling us 6 24-hour periods versus 6 billion years, is the fact that the Great Spirit has been doing this for so long. Shows when we talk about he's patient, talk about that he's enduring, right? I mean, you talk about patience, hanging out in this cosmos for all these billions of years creating life. I don't think there's any better example of greatness and patience and perfection and an eternal being that has no beginning and has no end, that he's been here all along doing this, taking his time. Because what time does he not have? He's got all the time going for him, without beginning and without end. You see? But no, they got the priesthood, just like they want us to buy into this lie and buy into that lie. No, he just clicked his fingers, 6 24-hour periods, bing, bang, bang, bada, bing, and it was all right here, But what about all the evidence that we've been here a long time? Isn't there some evidence? Sure. Plenty of it. It's all around. You can't not see it, Can't not see it. So, continuing on. 26, and the great Elohim breathed, let us make now, you see, and so many people got, interested in the fact that it's now plural, let us make man in our image, but they could never figure out, well, who's the we? Let us make, who's we? Well, okay, Yahweh, the one, who has no beginning, no end, Yahweh, the mother, father, the great spirit, and the great Elohim, Yeshua, their son, represented by the logo, the sun in the sky. Hey, y'all love, good you're there, because I could use a break here coming up real quick. We're on verse 26 in the first chapter, Genesis. And the great Elohim breathed. So he's talking to his father. Well, it's what he's doing when he says, let us make blood of the earth. The blood of the earth, that's man. The blood of the earth creation in our image. Okay? In our image. So that's Yahweh and the great Elohim. But you see, they took out the word Yahweh. And that's why we don't get it. Because it would have said, and the Lord God, which would have been Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, breathed, let us therefore make man in our image, after our likeness. Okay? And it wasn't talking about physical form, but the real image that we're supposed to be like is the character. The character is the image. That's what we don't see in people, right? They're not acting like they came from Yahweh. They act like they came from the dirt that they claim to be from when we were made by the fiery magma, and that's coming up. That's coming up. Well, have I been on for almost 2 hours? I'm dreaming. I can't get over this. Y'all love, I think this is a good place to break it off right here. And I may do part 2 tomorrow, but I'm going to cover some ground here because I got at least 3 chapters I got to do. And I know it's a holiday. And hey, Shelly, good to have you. And you're listening in. Wonderful. And I'm listening too. I feel like I'm seeing things in a way like I've not seen them before. And it's really fun to be doing it live on the broadcast with everyone. So yeah, y'all love. If you want to call in, we'll go into our original gospel, and when we come back, we'll pick it up in verse 26. And the great Yahweh and the great Elohim breathed, let us make blood of the earth, creation in our image and after our likeness. But was it according to the flesh or according to the spirit? And that's what we'll have to find out when we come back, ladies and gentlemen. And y'all love, I've got to set up the phone here. I'm sure she's dialing that phone right now. I hope. Come in, y'all love. Unless she walked away from the phone. Hello, everyone. Sorry to be so late. I had some things to do. Okay. Give me a smoke signal. Are you good? Okay, I'll go to a song, and we'll find her. We'll find y'all love. Okay, and there is y'all love. We've got her. So how are things out in Cologne, Deutschland, y'all love?
Oh, how they are. Normal. It's nothing special. It's daytime. In daytime, everything is normal. Everybody is going around. And yeah, the night is always a little more crazy.
Yeah, because you're nighttime over there now?
No. It's afternoon now. It's 5:30. Now it's everything good.
Okay. Well, you also have trees burning up in your backyard over there as well, don't you?
Yeah, there are many trees that are very dry, and some of them have black dots or something like fungus, or I don't know.
Yeah.
A few diseases. They don't look very healthy. And yeah, I think from the sun, many trees burned the leaves, got the leaves burned, but also the lack of water.
Okay. Well, very good.
Rain.
Okay. So I've got a bunch of my Bible's open up in front of me. I've got an easel where they're all tilted up, and I can look at several books at one time. So I'm got the phone and the microphone here behind the easel. So I'm gonna open my book, and I'll follow in the reading. And let me just get it. Hang on. And we are in, and want to welcome any new listeners out there. And we're celebrating Labor Day here in America, being slaves of the labor pool, and which they wanted to harness. They just wanted our labor. Now they're done with us. But we're in Lamed section, according to me, Yalov section 12, Lamed, the Council of the Seven Sages. Yeah, I think I remember that, right?
Wait a minute.
Chapter 56.
56, yeah.
Yep, that's my number. That was the year I was born, last century. It's a power number too. Another one of those signs that Yeshua gave to me. So yeah, I'll be listening in. Okay, well, I'm going to turn on my air conditioner and sit back, and then we'll do this entire section. Okay, it's not too big. It's a very small one.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Yes, shall I start?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. I try my very best. In every age since time began have seven sages lived. At first of every age these sages meet to note the course of nations, peoples, tribes, and tongues. To note how far toward justice, love, and perfection of light the race has gone, to formulate the code of laws, religious postulates, and plans of rule best suited to the coming age. An age had passed, and this true through all time. Another age had come. The sages must convene. Now, Alexandria was the center of the world's best thought
Here in Philo's home, the sages met. From China came Mengtse, from India Vidyapati, from Persia Caspar, and from Assyria Ashbina came. From Greece Apollo, Massino was from Mizraim land, and Philo was the chief of the Hebrew thought. The time was due. The council met and sat in silence 7 days, and then Mengtse arose and breathed. The wheel of time has turned once more. The race is on a higher plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wove have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth or cloth, have placed it in our hands, and we must make for blood of the earth new garbs. The seed of the moon are looking up for greater light. No longer do they care for gods hewn in wood or made of clay. They seek a great Elohim, not made with hands. They see the beams of coming day, and yet they comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion well these garments for the race. And let us make for blood of the earth new garbs of justice, mercy, perfection of light, love, that they may hide their nakedness when shines the light of the coming day. And Vidyapati breathed. Our priests have all gone mad. They saw a dark nature, a dark nature in the wilds, and at him cast their lamps, and they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for blood of the earth. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that makes each blood of the earth a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of the great Elohim. And Caspar breathed. In Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. They do the good for fear they do the good for fear to do the wrong. Okay, now I got it. The dark nature is the greatest power in our land, and though a myth, the eye dandles on his knee both youth and age. Our land is dark, and darkness prospers in the dark. Fear rides on every passing breeze and lurks in every form of life. The fear of darkness is a myth, is an illusion and a snare, but it will live until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers to the plane of the light. When this shall come to pass, the Magi land will glow in the light, in the sunlight. The shoal of Persia calls for light. Chapter 57. Ashbina breathed. Assyria in the land of doubt. Assyria is the land of doubt, the chariot of my people, that in which they mostly ride is labeled doubt. Once Victory of Light walked forth in Babylon, and she was bright and fair, but she was clothed in such white robes that blood of the earth became afraid of her. And every wheel began to turn, and doubt made war on her and drove her from the land, and she came back no more. In form, blood of the earth, worship the great Elohim, the one. In heart, they are not sure that the great Elohim exists. Victory of light worships at the shrine of one not seen, but doubt must see her, the great Elohim. The greatest need of all Assyria is victory of light. Victory of light that seasons everything that is with certainty. And victory of light means faith, for those who don't know yet. And then Apollo breathed. The greatest needs of Greece are true concepts of the great Elohim. Theogony in Greece is rudderless, for every thought may be a god and worshipped as God. The plane of thought is broad and full of sharp antagonists, and so the circle of the gods is filled with enmity, with wars and base intrigues. Greece needs a mother star mind to stand above the gods, to raise the thoughts of blood of the earth away from many gods to the one, the great Elohim. We know that light is coming over the hills. The great Elohim speed the light. And Massino breathed. You must see and read it for yourself, this land of mystery, this Mizraim land of the dead. Our temples long have been the tombs of all the hidden things of time. Our temples, crypts and caves are dark. In light there is no secret things. The sun reveals all hidden truth. There is no mysteries in the great Elohim. You must see and read it for yourself. The rising sun, his beams are entering every door, every crevice of the mystic crypts of Mizraim. We hail the light. How do you say that? We hail the light.
We rise up in the light.
Okay. We rise up in the light. All Mizraim land craves the light. And Philo breathed. The need of Hebrew thought and life is liberty. The Hebrew navigators, seers, and givers of the law were blood of the earth of power, blood of the earth of enlightenment, of enlightened thought. And they bequeathed to us a system of philosophy that was ideal, one strong enough and good enough to lead our people to the goal of perfectness. But carnal minds repudiated holiness, enlightenment. A priesthood filled with selfishness arose, and purity in heart became a myth. The people were enslaved. The priesthood is the curse of Asharael, the curse of Asharael. But when the I comes, who is to come, the I will proclaim emancipation for the slaves. My people will be free. You must see and read it for yourself.
Hold on. So what did it just say? The priesthood is a curse to the nation, right? You just read that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The priesthood is the curse of the nation. Why? Because they're following the Babylonian Talmud and its customs and traditions.
Absolutely.
So there now we know why it was destroyed. It says it right there. See, this is a confirmation of everything else. These scriptures speak truth from the highest order, from a historical as well as a spiritual standpoint. Wisdom all right here. Please continue.
You must see and read it for yourself, for the great Elohim has made incarnate wisdom, love, and light, which the eye has called Emmanuel. To him is given the keys to open up the dawn, and here, as blood of the earth, the eye walks with us. And then the council chamber door was opened, and the logo stood among the sages of the world. Again, the sages sat in silence for 7 days. Chapter 58. Now, when the sages...
I want to make an observation.
Yes,
right?
Sure.
With these 7 sages. Because, you see, we have to remember that these 7 sages were the sages of their respective parts of the world. And they're hanging out with Philo in Alexandria. And so you can imagine, my question has always been, how did they get there? How did they all get there to meet at the same time? And then I realized the truth, of course, that the Spirit, the great breath of the wind and fire, was guiding all these men. These men embraced the truth about life, and that's why even the 3 Persians came to bring gifts to the baby when not even the priesthood in Jerusalem came to give gifts to the baby. There was foreigners. It was always foreigners, that were that honored him. And so yeah, these people were brought together at this time by the Spirit. Obviously, they were all told to go meet there. That's the only way this probably would have happened. It was a divine meeting, and it was because the word was going out to the rest of the world about the one who would come to save mankind. That's what this whole thing is about, is the message.
Yes.
Please continue.
Now, when the sages were refreshed, they opened up the book of life and read. They read the story of the life of blood of the earth, of all his struggles, losses, gains, and in the light of past events and needs, they saw what would be best for him in coming years. They knew the kind of laws and precepts suited best to his estate. They saw the highest ideal of the great Elohim. God, ideal. I think I didn't say that right in verse
you're good.
3.
You're good.
Yes?
The highest Elohimic ideal?
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Elohimic ideal that the race could comprehend. Upon the 7 postulates, these sages were to formulate the great philosophy of life, and worship of the coming age must rest. Now, Meng Tse was the oldest sage. The eye took the chair of chief and breathed. Blood of the earth is not far enough advanced to live by victory of light. The eye cannot comprehend the things his eyes don't see. The eye yet is a youth, and during all the coming age, the eye must be taught by pictures, symbols, rites, and forms. His great Elohim must be a human great Elohim, or the deity. The eye cannot see great Elohim by victory of light. And then the eye cannot rule himself. The king must rule. The blood of the earth must serve. The age that follows this will be the age of blood of the earth, the age of victory of light. In that enlightened age, the human race will see without the aid of carnal eyes, will hear the soundless sound, and will know the wind of the great Elohim, or the breath of the great Elohim. The age we enter in the preparation age is the preparation age, and all the schools and governments and worship rites must be designed in simple way that blood of the earth may comprehend. That blood of the earth cannot originate. The eye builds by patterns that he sees. So in this council we must carve out pattern for the coming age, and we must formulate the gnosis of the empire of the soul, which rests on 7 postulates. Each sage in turn shall form a postulate, and these shall be the basis of the creeds of blood of the earth until the perfect age shall come. Then Mengsei wrote the first postulate. All things are thought. All life is thought activity. The multitude of beings are but phases of the one great thought made manifest. It is true throughout all time. The great Olofheim is thought, and thought is the great Olofheim. Then Vidyapati wrote the second postulate. Eternal thought is one. In essence, it is two. Intelligence and force. And when they breathe, a youth is born. This youth is love. And thus the triune great Olofheim stands forth, whom blood of the earth call Father, Mother, Youth. This triune Olofheim is one. But like the one of light, in essence, he is 7. And when the triune great Olofheim breathes forth, it is true throughout all time. 7 winds, 7 breaths stand before his face. These are creative attributes. Blood of the earth call them lesser gods, and in their image they made blood of the earth. And Casper wrote the third. Blood of the earth was a thought of the great Olofheim, formed in the image of the septonate, clothed in the substances of the soul. And his desires were strong. The eye sought to manifest on every plane of life. And for himself, the eye made a body of the ethers, of the ethery forms, and so descended to the plane of the earth. In this descent, the eye lost his birthright, lost his harmony with the great Olofheim, and made discordant all the notes of life. In harmony of darkness are the same. In harmony and darkness are the same. So darkness is the handiwork of blood of the earth. Ashbina wrote the 4th postulate. Seeds do not germinate in the light. They do not grow until they find the soil and hide themselves away from light. Blood of the earth was evolved a seed of everlasting life, but in the ethers of the triune great Olofheim, the light was far too great for seeds to grow. And so blood of the earth sought the soil of carnal life, and in the darksomeness of the earth, the eye found a place where he could germinate and grow. The seed has taken root and grown full well. The tree of human life is rising from the soil of earthy things, and under natural law is reaching up to perfect form. There are no supernatural acts of the great Olofheim to lift the blood of the earth from carnal life to enlightenment of of the wind, of the spirit. Yeah, to spiritual enlightenment. The eye grows and grows, the plant, and in due time is perfected. The quality of the soul that makes it possible for blood of the earth to rise to spirit life is purity. Chapter 59. Apollo wrote the fifth postulate. The soul is drawn to perfect light by four white steeds, and these are will, victory of light, helpfulness, and love. That which one wills to do, the eye has the power to do. A knowledge of that power is victory of light. And when victory of light moves, the soul begins its flight. A selfish victory of light leads not to light. There is no lonely pilgrim on the way to the light. Blood of the earth only gains the hates by helping others gain their hates. The steed that leads the way to spirit life is love, is pure unselfish love. And Massino wrote the sixth. The universal love of which Apollo sparks is youth of wisdom and of will divine. And the great Olofheim has sent it forth to the earth in flesh, that blood of the earth may know. The universal love of which the sages spark is Moshiach. The greatest mystery of all times lies in the way that Moshiach lives in the hearts. Moshiach cannot live in clammy dens or carnal things. The 7 battles must be fought, the 7 victories won before the carnal things like fear and self, emotions and desire are put away. When this is done, the Moshiach will take possession of the soul. The work is done, and blood of the earth and the great Olofheim are one. And Philo wrote the 7th postulate. The perfect blood of the earth, to bring before the triune great Olofheim a being such as this was nature made. This consummation is the highest revelation of the mystery of life. When all the essence of carnal things has been transmuted into soul, and all the essence of the soul has been returned to the only true anointed pure great breath of light, and blood of the earth is made a perfect great Olofheim, the drama of creation will conclude, and this is all. And all the sages breathed, "Let there be light." Then Mengse breathed, "The only true, anointed, pure, great breath of the One has sent to us a blood of the earth, illuminated by the efforts of unnumbered years to lead the thoughts of blood of the earth. This blood of the earth approved by all the mother star minds of the sun, moon, stars, and the earth. This blood of the earth from Galilee, this Yeshua, chief of all the sages of the world, we gladly recognize. In recognition of this wisdom that the eye brings to blood of the earth, we crown him with the lotus wreath. We send him forth with all the enlightenment of the 7 sages of the world. Then all the sages laid their hands on Yeshua's head and breathed with one accord. Praise the great Elohim for wisdom, honor, glory, power, riches, enlightenment, strength are yours, true and perfect Moshiach, forevermore. And every living creature breathed, let there be light. And then the sages sat in silence 7 days.
And I just want to jump in on that verse 22 at the end, where it says, praise God. It would have been more like, rise up in the creation of the great Elohim, right? That's what it was about. Rise and be healed in the light, right?
I knew you would do it better. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. One more?
Yeah, well, this is the last one, and then we're
okay.
done with the section.
I can see that. Chapter 16. The 7 days of silence passed, and Yeshua, sitting with the sages, breathed. The history of life was well condensed in these immortal postulates. These are the 7 hills on which the enlightened city shall be built. These are the 7 sure foundation stones on which the universal church shall stand. In taking up the work assigned for me to do, I am full conscious of the perils of the way. The cup will be a bitter one to drink, and human nature well might shrink. But I have lost my will in that of the only true anointed pure great breath of light on the wind and wings of fire throughout all time. And so I go my way to spark and act as I am moved to spark and act by the only true anointed pure great breath. The shavors I spark are not my own. They are the shavors of him whose will I do. Blood of the earth is not far enough advanced in sacred thought to comprehend the universal church. And so the work that the great Elohim has given me to do is not the building of that temple. Shall I say temple?
Yeah.
Of the temple. I am a model maker sent to make a pattern of the temple that is to be, a pattern that the age may comprehend. My task as model builder lies within my native land, and there upon the postulate that love is the seed of the sun, that I am come to manifest, that love, the model temple, will stand. And from the blood of the earth of low estate, I will select 12 blood of the earth, who represent the 12 immortal thoughts. And these will be the model temple. The house of Judah, my own kindred in the flesh, will comprehend but little of my mission to the world. And they will spurn me, scorn my work, accuse me falsely, bind me, take me to the judgment seat of carnal blood of the earth, who will convict and slay me on the cross. But blood of the earth can never slay the truth. Though banished, it will come again in greater power, for truth will subjugate the world. The model temple will live, though carnal blood of the earth will prostitute its sacred laws, symbolic rites and forms, for selfish ends, and make it but an outward show. The few will find through it in the royal domain of the soul. And when the better age shall come, the universal temple will stand upon the 7 postulates and will be built according to the pattern given. The time has come. I go my way unto Jerusalem, and by the power of living victory of light, and by the strength that you have given. And in the title of the great Elohim, our Father, the great Elohim, the King, the royal domain of the soul, shall be established on the 7 hills, and all the peoples, tribes, and tongues of the earth shall enter in. The Prince of Peace will take his seat upon the throne of power. The triune great Elohim will then be all in all. And all the sages breathed, "Let there be light." And Yeshua went his way, and after many days the eye reached Jerusalem, and then the eye sought his home in Galilee.
Okay.
Let there be light.
Let there be light. Any comment on your part, Yalav?
It's beautiful. I love it. I really love it. It goes through and through, and yeah, I want to read it more and more and over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for saving me, for being here. And,
thank you.
And I'm probably going to do the rest of Genesis. I'll pick it up tomorrow. It may take me 3 days to get through it, maybe even more. And so I'm going to close out tonight with just a quick review out of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary on the Hebrew script, a little footnote on that, and then just a couple words that they killed us with out of the Pirate Sea of Words. So, Yalav, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the chat, okay?
Thank you. Greetings. Bye.
Okay. And so I think you got a question. Remember to put my name in all capital letters, Ash. That way I won't miss it, because this could have passed me. But let's see, you said I was talking to my hubby yesterday about our readings, and he said to me, I thought Yeshua was a carpenter. I said, well, maybe it was a hobby, but he was a student, right? No, well, in the process of Yeshua growing up, he went and studied in all the different schools. When he went up into Tibet, it said he studied for 3 years. He didn't teach anybody, unlike when he was down in the lowland of India, and he was speaking truth and talking. But when he went up to Tibet, on the top of the world, he simply studied. And so this was obviously his growth period. Now that he's come out of Hierapolis, he was officially passed all of his final tests, and they gave him some of his best tests. So, but the fact that he's called the word Nazareth, you see, is a corruption, and there was no town called Nazareth. It's what does the word mean, and the word of the original, the one they corrupted, is Nazareth. So he was of the community of the Nazareth, and the Nazareth priesthood was one where one was totally dedicated to the great Father of Light. And so, so when we hear the term a carpenter, he was a carpenter when he was a little boy, but once he left his homeland, he no longer engaged in that trade. So to say he was a carpenter, the confusion is drawn out from the word naga, which is completely the nagash, because the nagash implies a wise man, because he's twisting words, he can interpret deep meanings, but also a carpenter is a nagash, because he's a wood twister. He can bend wood, he can shape wood, and he uses wood, and he can use it. And so the word Nazareth has multiple meanings, okay? And it also just simply means serpent, because the serpent twists, okay? So, but anyway, yeah, so that's it. He wasn't a carpenter, only for a short time when he was little, but he was a wise man. The Naga means wise man. So, okay, and I'm just going to close out here by just going over a few little short items, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. I'm feeling a lot of energy went out to have to do those first 26 verses, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. But on the in the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, And I hope that helped you out a little bit, Ash, okay? In the dictionary, I'm under Hebrew script. I just wanted to read this. The Hebrew square root script came into existence and formed during the exile of Judah into Babylon, which is Yutha in Babylon. The exact story of when and how this happened is all found in the Apocrypha, which was removed from the King James Version in 1660, 50 years after they wrote it, in the second Esdras, which is also Ezra, 1442, where it reads, Moreover, the Most High gave comprehension to the 5 men by turns, and they wrote what was dictated to them using characters that they did not fully comprehend. That's out of the New Revised Standard Version. The King James totally destroys this sense, not making any reference to these new letters. The Catholic Douay Rheims stops at the end of the 13th chapter, and the Septuagint removed the entire book of 2nd Esdras. Wonder what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? They just simply didn't want you to read it, but it's the New Revised Standard Version is the closest to the original. That's when they received the new alphabet, but it would look very similar to our Aramaic letters that we already have on our driver's license. Only a little maybe fancy in quality, what is called the square root. But anyway, herein lies a smoking gun of very great import for all of mankind that was changed and then ripped out by the priesthoods in order to deny us the truth about our own ancient history and legacy. It is well known that the first half of the book of Daniel was written in the pure Aramaic, and then the halfway through it changed into the new Hebrew square root script without any explanation at all. You now have the explanation. The other part of the story is that even though Ezra received this pure script to maintain a cultural identity for the people who were banished from their own homeland, no sooner did they take it back to Jerusalem with them, it became corrupted by the other priests, who also brought back with them the Hindu-originated Babylonian Masonic Talmud. See Babylon, Babylonian Talmud, language, priesthoods, symbols, and Targum. Okay, so that's a piece of our history that nobody shares with us, and I just wanted to get that out for you. And then just a couple of words that they killed us with, all right, and then we'll call it a day. I know people want to take advantage of their day off and do other things. So Nevada is out of the piracy of words. Nevada is code for the Vedas that came down. This is in regard to Area 51, where they are hiding all of those Aryan, alien, not made UFOs. Those the spectacular and gravity devices made in India, Sindai, thousands of years ago when they were building the pyramids in Atlantis, the Atlantean civilization. I mean Mitzrayim, Egypt. See, are you still on the fluoride? New World Order. I love these hoots, just dead on arrival, and the old world order priesthoods of Area 51. They want to take you for a ride on a global genocide. Can you say high five? Sorry for the sarcasm, but I have been at this for too long. The first enemy is we, people, for sheeple, the steeple, the church run by Freemasonry and Jesuits too, while everyone nods their heads under that hypnotic spell, the words, and say, Amen, brother. And they don't know anything but the sports on television. Isn't it interesting that sports sounds like spirits? It's got the same makeup, just change your vowel. My favorite quote is the one by the Frankenstein monster when he gets ready to pull that big switch to take down the castle. Dr. Frank says, don't pull that switch or you will kill us all. And the monster, Moonstar, says, we belong dead. Yeah, he is right. We belong dead because we are dead in all capital letters from their legal diction, fiction. See Aryan, alien farce, fallen Aryan watchers, the Bekoresh, ancient Aryan Brahmin, man again, priesthoods. Love them pretty chemtrails in the sky, geoengineering, aerosol spraying. How long do you think we've got? Interesting that long looks like lung also. Change the vowel and you get lung. How long do you think we have? How much lungs do you think we have left? I guess would be the question. News and interaction of TV news and foreign policy. Okay. At the end of every year, the news anchors and their children get together with their CFR mother, the Council on Foreign Relations, and laugh about the deception they fraught on the American people. The meeting is called The Interaction of TV News and Foreign Policy. Let's say that again. The interaction of TV news and foreign policy. See? Go figure. Off the floor. Fluoride yet? And nobility? No bill, no bull, no bridge. Nobility or noble, I should say, is another word for Gnostic. There, that's that letter G again. Nos tech means the knowledge of technology. Sounds like Masons, Watchers, and priesthoods to me, not ancient Christians, as they have been demonized with the blatant misuse of this term, with no help from Dan Brown's book, The Real Da Vinci Smoke. See, Gnostics and knowledge is not evil. See, the left hand looks like the right hand. Nom de guerre, which means the name of war. That's in all capital letters. Anything in all capital letters is a name of war. On your driver's license, that means you are chattel property and you are a hostage of war. See, and why do you need a license just to get on a horse? Think about it. See, War and Emergency Powers Act. The war is on you. Bankers, Masons, Jesuits, chemtrails, geoengineering, spraying. Don't worry. Be happy. Notice. No personal private jurisdiction. No notice, no case. By special visitation with motion to dismiss. A pretrial challenge to subject matter jurisdiction. See, that's not me anyway. I don't accept your offer. Can't buy me love. And then when we pick it up next time, we'll be on drone in the piracy of words. They loved us to death, ladies and gentlemen, and that's just because they're been drinking too much blood and taking blood oaths and having a little boys club on the world, you know. So we're in trouble, but that's okay. They think, you know, I'm not crazy, they're crazy, right? Go figure. Yeah. And so that winds us down for today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank y'all love for being there and saving me and giving me a little more wind to blow here. And now it's a wrap. So, and yeah, got a big farm. That's right. We're on the plantation. We are the plantations. Actually, that's the original meaning of the word. The people they put over here on the big island, the Rhode Island. And so it is Labor Day here in America, ladies and gentlemen. And so they want to celebrate that we're slaves and want to just do our part. That's all we can do. And thank you, Sandra, as well, for all your going out in the sun and doing that. Okay. And thank you also, Hans, for being there. Okay. And do tell your friends about the broadcast, won't you? And of course, thank you, Yalov. And we're trying to make it a better world, but I doubt that that's going to work. All we can do then is change ourselves. That's one thing we have the potential to do. And then maybe we can inspire somebody on the journey back home to the light. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know. So don't forget, if you want to know the future, then you just need to look for the Forbidden History right here, 7 days a week on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. And I'm Desert Owl, thanking you for tuning in. And thank you, Ninja, as well. Love you too. Mew Mew, thank you. Thank you, Hans. Right. And don't forget, tomorrow I'm probably going to do a morning broadcast because I don't have my air conditioner yet. So be here again 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time till we get that air conditioner. Ash, thank you. Thank you for being there. Okay. You know I'm here on the side. If anybody needs to call, got a comment, question, trying to figure something out, you're certainly welcome to call. Okay, the Holy Vortex Grail, thank you for that, Sandra. Be safe out there, okay? It's a dangerous world. I always recommend stay away from the crowd, you know? Because they're always going in the wrong direction. Love you too, yeah. Lydia, thank you. Glad you're here. We'll just make it when you can, Hans. You got the replay, so you're good.